three presenters, writers, Shin PONG, Yin Shin Chin, and Seng FOONG. Please correct me if I'm wrong in pronunciation. I believe PONG Shiong will be presenting.
Yes, correct.
Okay. The floor is yours. I will warn you when you have 2 minutes left. I hope that's okay.
Okay, right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, greeting from Malaysia. I'm Pong, as what moderator has introduced. I'm attached to Department of Public Relations, University of Draman. And today I'm going to share with you framing archaeological sites, a content analysis of the Star Online newspaper. So as we know, archaeological sites is non-renewable, and it's very hard for us to rebuild the monuments. Archaeological sites evoke a sense of common historical experience, and these archaeological sites are in danger due to the natural and temporal factors, as well as developmental activities, for instance, road construction, agriculture, and also residential area. Hence, it received additional attention from archaeologists, historians, and also heritage activists. So according to Chia, there are lack of awareness and low priority paid on archaeological sites. Hence, it has resulted fastened damages and destruction of archaeological sites. Here, with media, we know it will be able to communicate the messages of the importance of preservation and protection of archaeological sites. Nevertheless, the role of media in communicating preservation of archaeological sites has rarely been studied by the communications scholars. Scan research focuses on framing of archaeological sites on news media. Hence, these studies was proposed to answer one research question, the main research questions on how do news media frame archaeological sites in Malaysia? And specifically, I'm looking at what are the included issues concerning archaeological sites, which framings of choice are more frequently used, and what are the follow-up actions of the current situations of archaeological sites, and who hold the responsibilities of current situations of archaeological sites in Malaysia. So these studies conducted using a content analysis, and it analyzed the Star Online, and study periods was from 2011 to 2020, a 10 years period. And while looking at the searching for the news, a few keywords such as archaeological sites, Sungai Batu, Bujang Valley, Lenggong Valley, Perak Mines, and also Nia. So these are the names of the archaeological sites that are available in Malaysia to search the news in the Stars Online. And the coding process was using inductive and also analyzed using a thematic analysis. So what can be found from the studies is show that the coverage in the newspaper is quite consistent and is underrepresented. What we can see, there's less than, it's quite consistent, the number of news coverage, except 2012 and 2013. There is reason why the coverage increased tremendously in 2012 and 2013. There was two incidents. The first thing is in 2012, one of the sites, Lenggong Valley, was recognized as UNESCO site. Therefore, you can see the coverage increased in 2012, and in 2013 is because of demolition of one of the archaeological sites at Bujang Valley, located northern of Malaysia. So as for the news coverage of archaeological sites in Malaysia, not surprisingly, Bujang and Lenggong Valley actually cover the most if compared to other archaeological sites. And the least will be Nenggiri is due to this is the newly recovered archaeological sites in Malaysia. So when talk about framing of issue, five themes will emerge, but I will only talk about the most important themes. The first thing is about protections. About 42% talk about protections. Yeah? Right. For instance, the quote, the Star had reported that archaeological site of Lenggong Valley could be in danger of losing its UNESCO World Heritage status obtained in 2012 if the site was not properly maintained. So it's about protection. And then also, UNESCO team from Paris visited Lembah Bujang are recommended that the whole area be protected. Again, they are talking about protection. Besides protection, the second issue that raised in the news media was tourism promotion, right? For instance, here, I think by promoting archaeotourism, visitor can enjoy the experience of learning about Borneo heritage. So these are the two issues, right, that framed by the news media. And other than that, the third one will be on awareness and also education and also value. So next one on the framing of choices, there are two framing choices. The first is on the gain and the second is on the loss. So the gain actually outnumber the loss frame, reported at around 50%, right? So it took us about 5 years to receive the UNESCO site status, yeah, from applying and then preparing the documentation. So it is a prestigious, adds economic value, and it's a dream of all countries. So that is the gain framing. And the second one is about the returning of skeletons and also some artifacts that has been sent to overseas for research purpose. So now these skeletons and also artifacts able to go back to its origin and welcome the visitor to have a look. As for the loss frame, it's comprised of 30.4%. So the first thing is he was saddened by the inadvertent destruction of Chandi 11, yeah, by a housing developer. So this is the loss frame. The second one is in terms of visitors, yeah, right? The influx of people and the absence of proper management of the historical sites will jeopardize the archaeological sites. These are the two examples of loss framing. As for the third framing of action, we try to see who will be taking action, you know, what are the actions that proposed by the news media. The first thing is protection, and it's actually more than half, 51%, that talking about protection. So the first thing that looking for protection is try to apply for UNESCO World Heritage sites. So with this, actually it will the effort to preserve and also conserve the archaeological sites. And again, the second one about protection is the Kedah state government had also imposed the stop work in order to protect the historical sites by further destruction by these developers, yeah, housing developers. And besides protection, it also encouraged visitation from the public. So this series aimed to create awareness about the archaeological sites, because these sites will actually make the state more attractive. So this is try to encourage the visitations from the public. And the last one, we were looking at the framings of responsibility. Who should responsible in you know, protecting and also promoting these archaeological sites? And from the news, from the findings, it shows that government is playing a crucial role in protecting and also promoting the archaeological sites. So what I have quoted here, in July, National Heritage Department, which is the government department director, said that it's struggling to develop a proper infrastructure for visitors at each site of the 5-year plan. And again, Heritage Department, yeah, will take 60 days to conduct conservation work at the sites for the record and also restoration purpose. Again, it shows the role of the governments in protecting these archaeological sites. And lastly, the best authority to champion Lenggong Valley is Perak state government, not only because it is part of the state's identity, more so because land issues are under. So again, you can see here it's talking about a state government, and then this is the federal government that hold the responsibility to protect these archaeological sites. So in conclusion, media actually play a crucial role in transmitting the messages and to create awareness about this archaeological site and to educate the public about the consequences or how to protect the archaeological sites in Malaysia. However, the coverage, what we can see from the distribution, is very little. So this study contribute to the literature in understanding the framing of archaeological sites in Malaysia, and the findings also suggest that news media practitioners should play an active role in reporting, protection, and more promotions of national cultural heritage, because that will be the national identity that we have to preserve. So media practitioners should play an active role in this method. So I think that's all for my presentation, and these are my references, and I can be contacted via this email, and if you have any questions, I'm welcome to answer your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your interesting presentation. We look forward to your full paper. I don't know if you're planning to publish it, but yeah, thank you very much again. Before moving on to the questions, I would like to remind everyone that there is a keynote speech at 8 p.m. today in room 3. If you're interested, it's about challenges to journalistic freedom post COVID-19, and our keynote speaker will be talking about the case of Egypt. I believe Burak Hocam, you had a question.
Evet, can you hear me? Is that...
Yes, yeah. Yes, we can.
Okay. I will keep it really short. Don't worry about that. To Kenan Hoca, we will meet next week in Adana, and maybe after the question, he will not buy me an Adana kebab. You said that uses and gratifications are still valid in understanding new media. I would like to say that uses and gratification theory has never been valid, even in the 50s. I'm exaggerating, but don't you think that we need a sociological eye, you know, because still uses and gratifications is so descriptive. It is stating, and in some cases it is stating the obvious, but it does not tell us enough about the sociological relevance of the issue that we are dealing with. So, Burcu Hoca, I will make a comment, if it's okay, for a couple of seconds. I felt the same problem with Burcu Hoca's and her colleagues' thesis. You talked about impressions a lot, but I found the problem in application of Ritzer's McDonaldization thesis, which is, you know, in my opinion, completely trying to understand a different phenomena, a different period. It's about modernity. It's about modernization. It's about the Weberian thesis, basically. I will, you know, suggest, if you're going to write about this article, I will suggest you to, you know, study professionalization in journalism, the rules of the journalistic field, maybe looking at Bourdieu's work on television, on television would be good, because still we need a sociological. You talked about impressions, you talked about the things that you have seen, but I still believe that many of the things that you have said that are pointing to McDonaldization can be easily challenged. You know, I can come up with an alternative thing and say you that, oh, it is not that so, you know. The journalist should, so we need, in my opinion, a sociological view regarding that. And finally, to Mr. Professor Shiong, have you studied heritage populism? Have you come across with the term heritage populism when you're looking at archaeology and archaeological representation. Sorry for asking 3 questions in a row, but I try to keep them as short as possible.
No, thank you very much for your.
Bana Adana kebap ısmarlamayacak bana hocam.
Maybe we
So
can start with Kenan hocam.
So,
Please
okay.
go ahead.
As you said, I mean, it is your personal opinion that because you said that even in 50s never exist. I mean, uses and gratifications theory. But you know, when we start to our study, we I mean, make a very wide literature review, something like that. So uses and gratifications one of the prominent theories used in the communication field. So that's why also it attracts my attention a lot. I like this theory, and when I said that it still exists in the new media, I meant that. And as you know, in the traditional media like TV, I mean, which doesn't have internet base or digital, technologies, and other traditional newspaper, radio, something like that. In these technological tools, and uses and gratifications has been researched a lot. And some, experts working in the field, they obtained some motivations and the reasons why they're using them, in the general meaning. So we saw a gap, there. That's why we wanted to transform it to a digital version, using these new media tools like YouTube, Instagram, and news sites, digital newspaper, something like that. So you said that logical deficiency in the perspective of the uses and gratifications, right? Okay.
I argue, sorry for that, but this is a good discussion. In 2016, I wrote an article trying to state that işte kullanımlar ve duyumlardan izlediğinde, maybe you had a chance to look at it. And I said, it's not theory enough. Yeterince teorik değil, it's more like a description. It's more like a tool.
It's like approach, right? You say that it's like an approach.
Theory is starting at the point when you ask questions like why people watch this, why some people are watching that and doing that and others are doing that. So sociology and sociological this is something I'm dealing with.
No, really, I got what you mean. That's why I am gonna explain. Also, after the article published, I can share with you that in the literature, I discussed the point that in the first part, in the first phase, uses and gratification approach accepted as just the approach, and then in time, when the contribution comes to the approach, it became a theory. This is what is told by the experts in the field. So this is the one part of the situation, and the other part in the suggestions part of my dissertation, I suggested to be to work this uses and gratifications theory in a qualitative approach, because as far as I saw in the literature, all the studies have been developed, in the, with the perspective of quantitative approach. But I agree with you. Also, there should be, some contributions inspecting this theory with the qualitative approach, and then we can make a deep interviews with the audiences and ask them. You choose, but why? We can deeply, ask this kind of questions. Also, I am planning to make such a contribution. Using a qualitative approach to inspecting in, uses and gratifications issues. So I agree with you. There is a deficiency there. So Yeah, you are right.
Kenan Hocam, thank you very much. Maybe you can continue this argument over a piece of Adana kebab, which we all would love to be there, but we can't, unfortunately.
Everyone is invited, really.
Thank you.
I don't think there will be kebab at all.
Sorry?
I don't think there will be kebab at all.
There is worse of it, şırdan.
Oh. Burcu Hocam, Burak Hoca had some comments. Do you want to make a comment on that?
Please. Thank you, because your thoughts really mean a lot to me. We're just 3 doctorate students, and I think you're definitely right. I'll definitely look at the Bordeaux, but this is not the original article, Burak teacher. This is just a summary, a brief summary. But I'll definitely, because you're right about the modernism aspects. As I mentioned, Fordism, modernism, capitalism, and Weberian theory, they're all interconnected to each other. So you're definitely right. We should be more consistent.
The thing is that I believe that we should be really careful, when we are using concepts, theories, so we should avoid, arbitrarily using them. I'm not saying that you're doing that, but this is a work in progress as far as I see, and I would like to contribute it in that sense. So you should add other thinkers, other dimensions. So if you do not do that, you will look at the things, you will see the things that you will like to and want to see. Görmek istediklerinizi göreceksiniz. Yani bak, wherever you look, you're going to look for the things that you would like to see. You should avoid from that, So Ritzer is doing something, and it's a completely different study. This can help you, but you should add something to that. You should add new concepts, new dimensions, because it's impossible for Ritzer's book to work on understanding. This is impossible. It cannot explain everything, but in your presentation, 4 dimensions are explaining everything regarding contemporary journalism. Yani buna dikkat etmek gerekir. This is a work in progress, and I hope that it's a contribution. Yani bütün bunları aman böyle bir negatif olarak değil de pozitif olarak hani bunları
alıyorum hocam. Çok teşekkür ederim. Çok değerli.
Thank you.
I found this gatherings meaningful as long as we make such exchanges. Otherwise, we're just presenting and leaving.
Yeah, exactly. We agree with you.
We're grateful for your contributions. Thank you. And we had one last question for Professor Shiong.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks, Prof. Burak, for your question. As of now, I'm not looking at that part yet, Prof. But in the future, maybe I'll add that, because as you know, we have different school of thought. Some it will remain saying that, oh, we shouldn't, popularize the heritage, just let it be, because once you popularize it, it will the destructions come in, the damages come in. So on the other side, we are trying to popularize, because we see the value, especially economic value there, and that is the reason why we wanted to. But that is a good thought, and I will think about it, because myself, I'm actually looking at how to popularize this cultural heritage destination. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you very much. It was great presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I believe we don't have any more questions. If so, you can always communicate through the chat box during the symposium. I would like to thank all of our presenters. It was a very interesting session for me. I was grateful to be here. I hope we didn't offend anyone. Thank you again for everything.
Sure.
Hope to see you later.
Thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.